what am I doing? I have no idea. Let me just do a couple things to get ready for this stream. Creative tools. I can always use a creative tool, thank you very much. So I am live. I want the stream information to go to TAROT. Thank you. Update that information. Okay, thank you. My changes were successfully saved. It's brilliant. Okay. Hey, Lisa Vanderhelm. Hi, Melinda Pantano. Hi, Rachel McIntyre. I am going to try and I promised you guys I would come in on Sunday nights and do charmings. So I'm going to try and do this for as long as we can until I lose the stream. I called my internet company and rebooted my modem. I had them put a little boot in my modem, if you know what I mean. So I'm hoping that my modem being rebooted will strengthen my signal so that I'm big and strong. And I will be able to not drop signal. I'm only going to be on for about an hour. So for those of you that are interested, I need to, hey Teresa Barker, how are you? I need to message one lady that sent me money, and I can't find her. Where is she? Damn it. Hold on, let me look up her name. She sent me money for a charming last week because she saw last week's video after the fact and she didn't realize that it was over. And so she sent me $25 randomly, and I was like, oh shit, I'm not actually charming right now. Here we go, what's her name? Oh, Glenda. So Glenda, okay, Glenda is usually on. There she is. Okay, good. Glenda, I was just trying to get a hold of you. Good. All right, so Glenda, I have you down for your charming. I was just going to message you because I'm actually getting on an hour earlier than normal. I told you about 6. It's 5 o'clock my time, so I'm on early, but I am ready to do your charming, dear. So we're going to charm until like maybe about an hour or so, but I'm glad you're here, Glenda, because I was just looking you up trying to find your email for the payment. I will do your charming and anybody else. If I have any of my July Patreon subscribers. Lisa, I don't think you've done your July yet, have you? If you want your charming, you can do that now, or you can wait until next Sunday. It's up to you. I can't remember. I think I did Tammy's for her for July last Sunday. Or did I do Lisa's? I can't. I need to write this shit down. I'm such an old lady. Did I do Tammy's? May, June. I know I did Lisa's June. I can't remember. I don't think I did your July, Lisa. So if you want to cash in your July, you certainly can. Oh, I'm getting a phone call from somebody. Oh my god. Hold on. Hello?
What's going on?
I'm live on Facebook right now, so be careful what you say. What are you doing?
I'm at Target.
Okay. Oh, and he hung up. You want to FaceTime with me? Wait, what are you doing? Hello?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Okay, you were trying to FaceTime with me. Anyways, I am live and I'm getting ready to start charmings and I have an audience, so I need to hang up.
Okay, bye.
Alright, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Okay. Alright, so we've got Lisa Vanderhelm. Let me just do this. So July, let me write this down. I know that I did Tammy last week, so Lisa will be this week. This way I keep track. Hey Karen Stringer, how are you? Let me show you how to get a charming. Give me 1 second. I'm just kind of I'm out of practice with this. Not with the charmings itself, but with being ready for you guys. So let me look up my link tree really quick. I'm just pulling that out of my email. Come on, computer. All right. This link, guys, is the link to everything you would ever want to know about me and then some. When you use this link that I'm putting into the chat, this will link you to my business page on Facebook, my YouTube channel on YouTube, my Engelgeist group, I believe, and my PayPal link. If you utilize the PayPal link, you can send over $25 and that will get you a charming. I don't want to do a ton of charmings, so I'll do maybe like 5 or so because we're only going to be on about an hour and we're already 12 minutes into the hour. So let me get started, okay? Hey, Brittany Cardinale, how are you? All right, so I'm going to start with, let me go back through this chat really quick and look for Glenda, because Glenda's been waiting a week for this charming. She sent me $25 like last week, which was great. Thank you. Don't forget my charming. Hey, Sally Mustang, how are you? Can you put in the link for the charming, which I did. Tell the new ones how to get a charming. Past life, if you have time for Lisa. All right, I'll do a past life for you, Lisa. For Glenda, I need to know what you want your charming to be about, if you don't mind. Just give me like a one-word subject. Hi, Claudette McIntosh. How are you, dear? Please like the video if you guys are watching on YouTube. Just hit the thumbs up. If you're watching on Facebook, please give me some hearts or some likes. I'm going to open a sip of beverage. Excuse me. A little sip of, it's non-caffeinated. It's good, but it like wakes your mouth up. Oh, thank you, Glenda. So if you have a one subject word that you would like me to charm on, it's so weird having the light over here because I flipped it around for the camera. Hi, Nellie Connolly, how are you? What a great little Irish name that is. Nellie Connolly. General information about the future. All right, I'm going to switch cameras really quick and put it on the charm board. You guys bear with me. Still working out this camera angle. It's not the best, but it's going to have to work for the time being until I find a better... Oh, that's not going to really work for me now, is it? Because that puts the... Oh, shit. Hold on. Let me see. Let me move this over here, maybe? Let me move the chat over here so I can see the charming board. All right. Okay, so let's see. What does someone need to know about the future? Okay, so I'm not... Alright, I am going to say this, Glenda. This doesn't look like it's super... Is this camera too close? Is it going to, like, pulsate like that this whole time? It's the autofocus option. I'm sorry, guys. Alright, so the letters that you get are J and O. This also totals to a number of 9. The 8 and the 1 is a 9. Or it could be orange juice. Maybe you might figure out whether or not OJ did it or not. I don't know, Glenda. I'm just being silly. But those are your letters. It does total to a 9. 9s are usually about personal completions or reaching personal completions, the closing of chapters, that sort of a thing. So there might be some of that in this charming. Let's look and see. When you ask about the present, to me, what I find interesting about this, I mean, when you ask about the future, what I find interesting about all of this is all very much in the present moment as far as how these charms have laid out. Let me see, where is my pointer? What happened to my pointer? I thought I brought it in here. Why is it not here on the desk? I am a mess today, guys. What did I do wrong? Maybe I left it in the other room when I did the reading today. I might have. I'll have to go look later. All right. So what I see here, let me look. I feel like there's a big change coming your way. I almost feel like I want to say, Glenda, like you're cutting loose somebody. And part of the reason why I say that, I don't know if this is a significant relationship of some sort, but I got with this courage charm, the baby, the anchor, the two, right, with the green dice, which is sort of healing to me. I wish this would stop pulsing. I'm sorry, guys. It's just the way this camera is. Hold on. Does that help any at all? Like, I wish the autofocus would stop on this camera. It's not that important. Nothing's moving. All right. To me, this feels like the baby represents sort of new birth and changes. The anchor represents something that's holding you back or holding you down or has been holding you down. I feel like there's been some sort of departure from that thing, whatever it may be. I feel like it could be a relationship because of this too. I feel like the departure or the separation could be actually really healing and good for you. It might be good for both parties. The courage aspect of it is sort of taking those first steps to move forward. Underneath this, in the very center, we have the dog charm, the dog milagro. I don't know if you can really see him. I'll lift this up and show you. Do you see that? But he's sort of heading into the future. To me, he's trotting off into the future. I sort of feel like this is about loyalty and sort of being, a partner or a best friend to somebody that maybe they haven't always been deserving of that, and like the realization of that is kind of coming into play right now in your present conscious mind in moving forward. The newness of this move forward to me is exciting, but it's requiring you to kind of maybe I don't want to see like I almost want to say, like, it feels to me like this relationship or this situation may have tested your loyalties at some level. And I think that you did, the dog represents as being loyal and like succeeding in those loyalties, but I feel like those loyalties were wasted or not wasted, but like not appreciated by, say, maybe the other party, if that makes sense. That's the anchor aspect in all of this. That's the idea of sort of moving forward on your own. That's the courage that we see here in the past in this stone. We also have this this charm that has this sort of auric field around it, their own energy field over the dog with all of the different like chakras represented, right? And to me, this is about this being like sort of face up in the center over the dog speaks to putting Glenda first. I don't know if that makes, what does it say? I was going to say, does that mean that OJ is coming? Exactly. Maybe you need vitamin C, girl. I don't know. It could mean, it could be initials. It doesn't necessarily have to mean anything. It could be okay. Like the future's going to be okay. Sometimes spirit's off by a letter, elemental P, or wait, what is it? H-I-J-K, elemental P. So maybe it's like, O-J, okay? Like, I don't know. Like everything's gonna be okay, but nines feel like the end of a chapter or the closing of something up. I don't know if there's a relationship that you have walked away from or needed the courage to walk away from and have done so. In the process of doing that, it's like being reborn. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from this baby, is that you're sort of, there's a rebirth happening after a time of being weighed down. That's the anchor underneath. Don't scratch up the chair, Rebecca. That's not for you to scratch up. That's not even that's not a dog chair. That's a human chair. If you're gonna lay on it, but don't scratch it up. Ugh. Okay. Now, does this make sense to you? Hi, Michelle. How are you? Michelle Jagannath. Perhaps I should be living in the present. Well, living in the present never hurt anything, but I kind of feel like you actually are. With this focus on the future, the dog moving towards the future speaks to this idea of focusing on the future, but I love that you have this charm with the aura in the center. To me, this feels like getting our energy in line, getting ourselves centered, feeling ourselves. To me, there's a certain joy with this charm that I feel like I hope that you're experiencing, because if you're not, you should be. There's an opportunity to be had in this. It feels to me like this person is almost dancing sort of for joy or freedom. You also have this guardian angel charm. It's feather side up, but this is the grace charm. It says grace on it. And to me, this signifies with the feather side up, it's like signs from spirit are all around you. Or I would think that signs from spirit are all around you, that there's opportunities or little signs, maybe through feathers, birds, coins, things like that. That if you pay attention, they're actually showing you that things are okay. Things are as good as you allow them to be. And it's. I feel like you're actually. It's not even about allowing. It's about like owning it. Like this to me feels like you're really embracing what's going on for you energetically. You're embracing your now. You're enjoying that. The Cancer symbol, right? The crab to me, we were just in. Oh, sorry, you guys can see the cord. That's so tacky. I can't fix it though without screwing everything up, so I'll just leave it as it is. The Cancer symbol for me, we just went through the birth month of the birth sign of Cancer, right? We've just been in Cancer season from June to July, from mid-June to mid-July. We have the series of Cancer. We've also had some Cancer moons and things like that that we've been dealing with. We just saw the last of the Cancer Capricorn eclipses just happen. When was that? Like just the other night. It was a few nights ago in Capricorn, but it was a series of like, I want to say 7 or 9 different eclipses that happened over the last 3 years. So that's this Cancer energy. Cancer is also very nurturing, very, it can be moody at times, but I don't necessarily feel like this is moody. To me, this feels like in tune with this baby charm. It's about taking care of yourself, nurturing yourself, honoring your emotions, protecting yourself a little bit. You know, the pinchers of a crab, when you get a little bit irritable or things aren't right, you speak that truth and you kind of, you might have to back people out of your space a little, take a little bit of, what's the word? Like set your, not your intentions, but like sort of set your boundaries by maybe, you know, telling people back off, you know, and in doing that, it's not that you're trying to harm anybody or hurt anybody. To me, I feel like it's you trying to sort of honor what you need emotionally right now. And I think that's part of the grace that we see in this beautiful energy running around this central figure here in the center. To me, I feel like I hear in my head right now, the world is my oyster. And I don't know if I'm getting oyster because of the crab and, you know, a whole sea reference, but I definitely feel like this is about like having positive energy, being loyal, nurturing oneself, and moving towards a future that's based in those principles. And from that, I think that really good things happen. Now, what we have in your future, and this crab is also in the future, kind of. It's like on the border of the present and the future. So keeping this mindset of sort of nurturing oneself, mothering oneself, being in tune to one's emotions and feelings, even if you're feeling delicate or moody, allowing yourself that. Don't like let other people tell you, oh, you shouldn't feel that way, blah, blah, blah. Don't listen to that. Trust your own sort of internal compass in that way. You're moving towards, you have the Abraham Hicks charm, which to me is all about manifestation. It's all about the ideas of the laws of attraction. It's all about with this tree growing on it and the roots in it. To me, it's about like sort of the tree of life symbolism. So it's like sort of what do we want to grow in our lives? What do we want to attract in our lives? And how do we want to do that? Underneath that, this is a magnet too, which also to me, it signifies in that idea of the law of attraction, we kind of magnetize to us whatever it is that we are thinking about, whatever it is that we are focusing on, whatever it is that we're sort of energizing is what we're bringing to us in our future. I feel like this is a beneficial charm, and it's also, when I pick it up, like look, it's attached to one of the heaviest charms in the, magnetized to one of the heaviest charms in the box, which is the old rusty key. Now, the old rusty key to me, some people would say, I mean, there's one determination where you could think, oh, maybe she's letting go of some old ways of being and all of that. But when this is magnetized to that, to me, I get this sort of feeling that this is about finding the key to some ancient, I don't know why I want to say this, but I feel like this is about finding the key to some ancient wisdom or awareness to be able to open yourself up or open up the doors in the future, like as you're heading into the future, for this new outcome, for this new sort of opportunity, right? This Abraham Hicks charm is all about that sort of idea of the law of attraction and what we're attracting to us. This old key is giving me this definite vibes of not only unlocking doors in your future or finding like freedom, that sort of energy to it, but it also feels like it being the oldest key in the charm box. It's like doors we've forgotten or opportunities, things that maybe we lost touch with, things that maybe aspects or awarenesses that we forgot about, or strengths within us that maybe haven't been ignited in a long time. They're there, they're coming back to us, right? They're opening up doors for us. They're allowing us to sort of move forward in a way that brings about growth, fruitfulness, abundance, inspiration. That's this Abraham Hicks magnetizing magnet charm. So to me, this speaks to like a good future. It speaks to a solid future too. Also, the rusty key to me would be kind of based in this place of how do I want to say this? Because it's the rusty key, it's sort of old and strong, you know? Like that's sort of the, like I'm getting like this picture of like this really strong wooden door that's survived the test of time. So to me, this key feels that way. Whatever it is we are going to create moving into the future, because we're doing it from this place of such a great, like sort of honoring of ourselves and the energy, being loyal and true to ourselves, maybe being our own best friend at this point in time, or not giving into situations that tend to only take from us, holding ourselves, treating ourselves like this baby, releasing anything that no longer works for us or drags us on, living from this place of courage, honoring the signs from spirit that are around us, and gassing on that a little bit, like getting a little bit excited about that, right? And then also, I'm sorry about this pulsing camera, guys. It's annoying the shit out of me, but one of these days, I'm gonna get this to where it doesn't do that anymore. I promise. I swear. But, and then the crab to me is about that nurturing, mothering, and also that kind of being attuned to the moon, being attuned to sort of our emotional cycles, our own intuition, that sort of thing. Utilizing all of those things to work in your favor is what it feels like to me. And finding aspects of self that have long been hidden or buried, or that we have left, not left behind, but we've maybe not utilized in a long time. That is this key that opens the doors for opportunity to grow for us. She says, I so wish I could tell you how dead on you are with this reading. Oh, good, Glenda. I'm glad. I'm really glad. You guys, there's Aoife Bukola Adugan who's saying, replying to Sally Mustang, please message me for the accurate reading. Aoife Bukola, please go away, quite frankly. You're a spammer and I don't like it. You guys don't pay attention to Aoife Bukola. These are not people you want to be messaging, trust me. They're just like, they're basically parasites. They're human parasites that are trying to shake you down. And this is some new thing that's on Facebook where people are now jumping into chats of readers and saying, oh, message me and I'll help you find love or whatever. It's a bunch of crap. So Aoife Bukola, shame on you. You know what? Be careful. Go take it somewhere else. Start your own business page and run your readings there. Don't be trying to steal other people's attention, or especially while they're getting readings. It's very rude. Let me see if I can block Aoife Bukola. I can't even pronounce their name, damn it. I don't think that's very nice. Let me see. Can I block Aoife Bukola? Sorry, guys. Let me see. Yep. Let me see. Where's Aoife Bukola? Yeah, Aoife Bukola, you gotta go. I think that blocks Aoife Bukola. If it doesn't and you still see messages from Aoife Bukola, please do not respond to them. They shouldn't, and if they're PMing you, don't let them, like, block them, guys. They're scammers. And they're doing it not just to me. I see them doing it to a lot of different people. So be careful. What they do is they follow business pages, and then when the business pages go live, they start hitting people trying to sell them readings, and they're probably going to tell you they're a Nigerian prince, and they have some money for you in a bank account that is unclaimed. And as much as I love a Nigerian prince, what they don't know is that I am a Nigerian queen, or I'm at least a queen, not Nigerian per se, but I am a queen. I do not need your princely ass talking to me. Okay, so let's get into this. Yeah, it's this new thing that they've been doing. And so they jump on, and they do it all over the place. Like, I've noticed other readers are dealing with it too. So I can't, you know. And then it becomes this thing. This is the thing that bums me out about it, is it becomes this thing where they give kind of all people with African names a bad rap, which I don't believe that's the truth either. Not all Nigerian people or people from the country of Africa are bad, right? But if you see these African names, it's like you're leery of letting them into groups or letting them onto your page, because this is what goes on. It's stuff like this. So I find myself going like, I'm not going to let you into the group because your name is of African descent, and I don't know that you're not trying to do weird things in private message viewers. So, that being said, let's move on. Oh, let me go back here. If you want to take a picture of this, I don't know if you do, but there's that there for you. That is your charming, Glenda. And sometimes people want to take screenshots so that they can look back at it. I think that's a really good charming, to be honest. I feel like you're in a very present time space. That green dice represents healing. There's a lot of really good stuff in there. It feels like you've been doing the work, and it's definitely paying off in the now. Melinda says, thank you for clearing that shit up. I was wondering what that was about. It's a whole bunch of bullshit, basically, Melinda. And it has nothing to do with me. So don't, if they message you directly, do not respond. It's just going to be a big headache, I imagine. I love that they don't message me directly. That's the thing. And the funny thing is this is only broadcasting to my YouTube and my business page. So it's somebody who obviously follows my business page. That's how they've jumped in. So they came along and liked my business page so that they can follow it, and then when I go live, they jump in and start offering readings to people that are in my chat room. And it's like, no, Aoife Bukola, you need to go get a real job, girl. Alright. So there you go. I'm going to clear this off. We're going to send Aoife Bukola off with some love and allow her destiny to find her, or him, whoever it is, in the most highest and beautifulest possible form, whatever that may entail. And we're going to move into Lisa's charming. And Lisa said, she wanted a past life charming, correct? Let me just see. I gotta check one thing really quick before we start Lisa's charming. Okay. Alright, so let's do Tammy's charming. Tammy, you're still here. I mean, Lisa, you're still here. Tammy. I'm just looking at Tammy's payment. And if anybody wants charming and you want to send in payment, now would be the time to do it. After Lisa's, I'm going to just sign off because we're at 5:35. I'm only going to do this till 6. So it's okay if nobody wants the charming. That's okay. It's not a big deal. I'm just going to do Lisa's really quick. So for Lisa's past life. Oh, look who's back. All right, let's pull out the letters first. We've got an I, an L, and a U. This totals up to a number 3, just so you know numerologically what the letters represent. I just want to look at this 1 second. So we have, this is Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, laying on the sun. I'm having a hard time figuring out where this is at. It's interesting. Vishnu obviously takes me to this place of India, but I don't feel like it's India. This LIU makes me think of Asia, right? India is also part of Asia, but I feel like LIU makes me think more Chinese in a weird way. Like Liu or Lu is a very Chinese name. Not that necessarily just the spelling is the most important thing in the charming, but the fact that we have Vishnu here and the sun also speaks to this idea of sort of being in that area of the world, like Asia in some regards. I don't think it's fully necessarily India, if that makes sense. I think it might be like, it could be China, it could be Mongolia, it could be somewhere like that. The interesting thing, this crown next to the teapot to me makes me feel like I'm not sure if this was a period where you were, and also Vishnu too being close to these makes me think that possibly I get a sense that you were a female in this life. I get a sense that possibly you might have been like, in some ways, wait staff to a queen. That crown and that teapot make me feel like your life, the domestication, all of that was around sort of royalty, or you were around people that were very influential. That's the sun and Vishnu, right? Plus this crown, plus the teapot. I feel like I'm a housekeeper, or that I am like a maid in some sort of an Asian culture. Let me just look at this for a minute. You also have underneath here, we have this manifestation charm again, this magnetizing manifestation charm. But this tree, in this case, in this reading, makes me think of like the Bodhi tree, that would be a tree from India, or one of those spiritual trees that you would live under. It also kind of takes me again to that place of like sort of Asian jungles, or that sort of a thing where it could be like maybe Vietnam or wherever it is. I feel like you were involved in a very powerful household. You might have been like in charge of the staff of this household. I don't think that you were sort of the lady of the house. That's this crown facing down. I feel like there was another person that was your boss or your authority. I feel like you were close to this family. Let me see. We have the Christ crucifixion underneath this. This always loves to get stuck to this, if you can see that. This to me feels like it was a deeply religious family that you worked for. And you were again, we have the bulldog, which to me is the sign of nobility, which would be that family that you took care of. But it would also speak to the idea of what's the word? Not nobility, loyalty that you had to this family. I also feel like you might have been very protective of this family. I feel like this family and you, they were like family to you, even though you might have been like, you may have worked for them, you lived with them. It was as if they were your people, right? Let me just see here. You have the hardened heart, or the wooden heart, and you have the turtle that's flipped over, which sort of represents Mother Earth, having our homes on our back. That's the idea of the tortoise shell, that sort of thing. I kind of feel like I almost feel like this is a weird story where I'm looking at all of these different charms, and I feel like even though you were loyal to this family, and you loved this family very deeply, you cared for them fiercely. It was something that was very important to you, that you took great pride in. I feel like there was also this sort of push pull. That's this heart and this turtle to me. It feels like. Um, how do I want to say this? Like, I feel like your love for this family was true and real, and your loyalty to this family was true and real. But I think that their love to you was sort of true and real also. But I feel like it was not as genuine as, say, yours was to them. Does that make sense? I feel like, in some essence, because they maybe were wealthy, like to a certain degree, they knew that you needed them more than they needed you. And that's sort of this hardened heart, and this turtle to me feels vulnerable, flipped over on its back like that. And so it feels to me like there were times maybe where you had to suffer even while you were in the midst of this powerful or wealthy family, and they could have done better by you, and they maybe didn't, because not that they didn't love you, don't get me wrong about this, but I feel like they didn't necessarily see that as important. In some ways, maybe they were just sort of selfish, right? Or they were just sort of, they didn't see much beyond their own needs. And so they loved you in ways that they could, but there's this feeling between this hardened heart, any sort of heartbreak that you may have experienced, they kind of left you alone to experience it on your own. That's kind of my feeling. You have the Pisces symbol here flipped over. This is sort of like psychic awareness. This is also emotionality, that sort of energy. And we have the big listen here, which is the big seashell. To me, this is the idea of spirit or your conscience whispering in your ear. And I kind of feel like there's a sort of tear up in here of how do I want to say this? Like, you felt this responsibility to them, to take care of them. You took pride in what you did. But it still maybe never was always enough, or always wasn't always honored in the way that you felt that it should be, or like, to me it feels like the relationship wasn't fully reciprocated. For what you put into it, I don't think that you are able to reap out exactly the same from them. Does that make sense? So we have one of these coins. Let me see which coin this is. This is the heads you win coin. So this is a little dirty coin that has like a naked lady. This was one of my dad's coins, like when I was a kid. I remember I used to look at this coin. It has a naked lady on it. Do you see her tits? It says heads you win, tails you lose, and it's a picture of her bum. But it has the head side up. I almost feel like there's a break here too. Do you see this line here? I feel like you might have left this family at one point. I feel like that was hard for you to do. I feel like you maybe did it for love. And I feel like in the end, I feel like in the very much the future, you ended up alone. This singular dice here, I don't know, let me see if you can see this on the screen, because I can't see because of the chat. Yeah, you can. This singular dice here to me feels like in the later part of your life, as you get aged and got older, you may have been alone in the end. And also, I feel like this barbell says to me that it was hard work in the later part of your life upon leaving this family. I feel like it wasn't necessarily easy for you to leave this family either. That's sort of the sadness of this heart. Like, I feel like there was times when you needed things and the family was unable to give them to you, and they were unable to give you a reason as to why. And you gave, like, I want to say almost everything you had to this family, in the sense as far as dedication, loyalty, love, caring. You truly sort of saw yourself as part of this family that you took care of, but there was a line that like they would not cross over to help you in certain scenarios or situations. And that's this turtle that's turned upside down. To me, on its belly, it's sort of like there was a like they protected you to a degree, but then there was still this point where you would become vulnerable, or uh, your needs became no longer important to them, if that makes sense. And at a certain point, I feel like that became undeniable for you. Like you couldn't get beyond that. I feel like you were with this family. Like when I look at these charms, I feel like you were with them for like a long time. Like maybe from when you were a young girl until you were an older woman at the time, maybe in your 30s or something. It would have been a long time. Like let's say 20 years, right? 25 years. However long this family, I feel like, because this is all sort of jumbled up here in the past too of this lifetime. And then when we get to the future, there's this break from the family, right? That we see here, this empty space. And then we see you falling in love. We have the lovers here. We see you single. We also have this sort of like the feather again, which is that, I think this is the grace charm again. Let me just double check that. It is the grace charm. To me, it's like sort of that idea of following one's own truth, one's own, like coming to the realization that this family wasn't necessarily going to give you what you needed. And so you had to stop having faith in them and move into having faith in yourself, which you did. And there was a period where you were in love, things were happy, but then in the end, I feel like you might have, maybe your significant other or whoever you ended up with after leaving this family, they maybe passed away is the feeling that I get, and you maybe had to live out some of your existence on your own. I kind of feel like as I'm looking at this and I'm describing this story, I feel like the significance of this life to me was about finding that sort of belief in oneself and standing sort of firm in that and strong in that and standing like in the grace of that, the awareness of that, the love of that, the power of that at a later point in your life. It may have been hard work or hard to do, but you needed to sort of do that for yourself, because when I look at this group of charms here, there was always this moment where you would realize that this family's generosity or their care or their protection or their support only went so far, and then it came to a stop. You were sort of left to figure it out on your own. Like how do I want to say this? Like that hardened heart and that turtle to me feel like if you were having personal problems in your life, right? Say that there was something that you maybe you needed medical attention or help. They would get that for you, but only as sort of like the feeling I get is just like it would only be as long as it didn't stand in the way of you getting your work done. Like, and at some point, this seashell to me speaks to this idea that you could no longer deny that. Oh, sorry, that's really out of focus. Oh, come on. There we go. And I think your upbringing, your religion, those sort of things kept you there, and your love for this family was true and genuine. It just wasn't as true and genuine as from the family. I do feel as though with this naked coin, though, I feel like the choice to depart from this family was your own. That's the nakedness of the coin, like feeling vulnerable and moving away from this family, moving away from something that you had known maybe all of your life or the majority of your life, something that had offered you protection, security, those sort of things. And I don't think that you were a slave per se, but I think you worked for the family, or it might have been a sort of a servant sort of situation or scenario. But you were granted sort of, maybe not granted, but you took the freedom to remove yourself That's this coin sort of moving into the future. But the nakedness of that coin makes me feel like in making this decision, it was not an easy decision for you to make. You felt vulnerable, you felt scared. But in the end, the hard work, all of that brought about good things for you. You learned a lot of things later in life about your own strengths, your own singularity of purpose, your own ability to love and to be loved back. That's this lovers thing. Like, in some ways, this was a fair trade for you. Although I do get this sense from the singular die that the person that you did were able to fall in love with at one point, they had to die or pass before you, and so you were left towards the latter end of this life by yourself, which was like sort of the opposite of how you started your life. I'm not even so sure that maybe your mother wasn't somebody that was a servant to this family and you were born into this family as her daughter, and so you were in the household with them from very young and just grew into this role of servitude with this family. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so you had been doing this had been your whole sort of universe and life, and you had to sort of walk away from it or let it go because you realized that it was not necessarily true love or the same as what you were giving to them. I don't sense a big sort of betrayal of any kind. I feel like there was a sadness or a heaviness in your heart that you couldn't stay there, but you also knew that staying there wasn't necessarily going to bring about any sort of honor or love, at least at the level that you were looking at it for, or the level that you found in later in this lifetime. Does that make sense, Lisa? Hey, Marge Smith, how are you? It's same dedication and loyalty I show in my life, like it was a staple of me that moved forward through each life. Thank you, Dan, as this is the third past life. And as diverse and different they were, my attributes certainly were carried over even to this lifetime. Beautiful. Okay, cool. I just think that it took some bravery on your part, and but I think that the bravery was well worth it. Is kind of my feeling, because I feel like this love was worth it, even though it may have been short-lived or just a brief part of this lifetime. And in the end, you sort of looked back and reflected on it, but it made you stronger. It made you more sturdy. It made you more true to who you were, less dependent, so to speak. All right, do you need a screenshot of this, Lisa? Ramona, did you just send me money? It looks like somebody bought a Charming. Okay, great. Ramona Grimes, did you send the money for a Charming? Are you still here? Miss Ramona Grimes! And you guys, just so you know, Charmings will be every Sunday, so if you don't get one today, you can always get one on another Sunday. I'm going to try and be very regular about my schedule with this, hopefully. Quit being such a lazy cuss, as they say. I wish this camera, I need to work this camera out. This camera's so troubling me. You did? Okay, cool. Thank you very much, Ramona. What would you like your Charming to be on? Do you have a subject matter? Oh, it's 5:55, guys. Hey, 5:55. Okay, general for Ramona. What does Ramona need to know right now? Oh wow, there's a lot of stuff Ramona needs to know right now. Okay, let's see what we've got going on here. We've got a U. Let me just look at this stuff before I go messing with it. Okay. All right, I want to get this letter out from underneath this baby. Give me 1 second. I don't like this that this baby is wrapped up in that metal cobra. We've got the C and the U, which comes to a number 4, which is about stability. That's the number 4 generally as a rule. It's about creating stability. This cobra was wrapped up with this baby. I'm going to say this. I feel like there's this giant maybe right in the center, right? You see that, right? So I'm going to move that out of the way too, just so I can see what's going on here, because there's a lot of small charms and all sorts of jumbled up here in the center. And this center is your present conscious mind. So when we take this maybe out, I feel like this maybe sort of represents a little bit of doubt on your behalf, Ramona. Then I look at what's going on in the center here. I see Santa Muerte on top of this microphone, which makes me feel like, what has stolen your voice? Where is it that you're saying where is it that you're not saying what you need to say in your life? This might be something that you might be finishing up with. I wish this camera would stop pulsing. It's driving me nuts. To me, it feels like this Santa Muerte over the microphone feels like there's somewhere where you're not allowing yourself to speak the truth, or somebody else is not allowing you to speak the truth. Or you might be holding back the truth for some sort of fear of upsetting people or causing people harm, that sort of a thing. But you also have the ball player that's also face down too, which also makes me feel like there's this retraction or this inability to want to play or say what you feel, say what you mean. Let me just look at this because I want to kind of uncover these. What's underneath here? So we have, there's Santa Muerte on top of the microphone, on top of the frog, which represents cleansing, which is on his back, on top of this weird tribal earring, which I don't necessarily know that that means anything necessarily, but, and then we have warrior underneath all of this. So whose ass do you need to kick? That's what I want to say. We also have the bulldog for you in the past, which to me speaks to this idea of maybe being potentially loyal to a situation far too long, similar to Lisa's charming. But to me, I feel like these charms here speak to this idea of you're holding back, maybe not saying what you need to say. There might be a situation that's not working out in your favor, or somebody that's not treating you very well right now. This could be at work. This could be in home life or in family. I also feel like it's reflected here in this metal cobra wrapped around this baby. Because to me, the metal cobra usually signifies some sort of negativity or like a possibly, you know, negative situation or toxic situation, something that's, and especially it's swirling around the baby there, to me just feels like, how do I want to say this? For you, it feels like it would be, like if you're the baby in this, and I'm not saying that you are a baby, but to me it feels like you would be a more gentle spirit than whatever this situation is that is going on around you, right? And so you might be choosing, that might be that Santa Muerte, you might be choosing to not speak the truth or choosing to not rock the boat in an effort to not upset the apple cart, so to speak. But what I am going to say is that that warrior charm underneath all of it says to me that you have the strength and the ability to change this or speak your mind. It might create a little bit of havoc. You very well may be right about that, but it's not necessarily the end of the world either. Like sometimes you just have to say fuck them and just do what you know to be true. The dream charm is face down, sort of in the past, next to this bulldog, which is loyalty. To me, this feels like you might have been loyal to a situation. You might still be being loyal to a situation, not playing the game or not like putting yourself out there in some way, shape, or form. And it's stopping you from having what it is that you want, or having what it is that sort of, like, I feel like it's blocking your dreams, or maybe in the past you've been blocking your dreams. The intuition of the moon is here, and the small owl is here, which is the little wisdom, which says to me, like, your intuition and your brain, your knowledge base, they're there, but they're not like being adhered to or listened to in some way. I feel like they're face up, which says to me, you know that your intuition is good. You know that what you know to be true is accurate and smart, but are you willing to sort of trust it and act on it? Or are you willing to sort of speak from it and own it? Not own it, but like, you know, because I feel like them being face up is that you're owning it, you're aware of it. It's not that you're hiding it by any means. You may not be speaking it out, but you know what's true inside of you, right? You know intuitively what's true inside of you, but you're not necessarily acting from that place, or maybe like, what's the word? Like, maybe forcing your thoughts or your opinions, your intuitions on others. But I feel like you are sort of holding back. You have the Egyptian hieroglyph button, which speaks to the idea of ancient wisdom or knowledge. That's sort of in the center of all of this, and it sits on the tree of life. So to me, and it also sits on the rooster, which is this idea of good luck, but the rooster is flipped upside down and on his stomach. He's face down too. So it feels like, I almost want to say, like, whatever it is that you are denying right now, that you're aware that you're denying it to a degree, that you're not listening to your own, I don't want to say that you're not listening to it, because I feel like you know it and you're aware of it, but you're not acting on it, or there's something that you're not sort of bringing forward. You don't feel as though you can, you feel as if you do, it might cause unintended problems. That's also this whole maybe energy in the center of everything. It's like this not sort of being sure if you can make it. You want to create this. The rooster usually is representational of good luck and blessings and things like that. But with him being face down and upside down, to me, it's like, I want to say to you, how are you supposed to create this good luck that you seek, or these dreams that you seek, when you're sort of putting them on hold so as not to upset others, or so as not to allow others to sort of maybe wreck them for you in some way? I feel like this cobra around this baby is that idea too, this idea of, negativity can rear its ugly head and sort of take things to you, take things that you consider to be blessings, and maybe take them away from you or ruin them for you, that sort of a thing. Maybe that's happened in the past, and that's sort of a fear that this could happen now. You do have the clear quartz crystal. That was also next to the energy of this, so there's a bit of the energy around this situation. We want to find clarity around that. I think the clear quartz represents the finding of that clarity, hopefully. I love that you have the Sacred Heart up here, which speaks to this idea that in your higher mind, when you think from your higher self, the clarity, the brightness, the light that is within you is to be trusted. It is to be acknowledged and utilized to sort of bring you forward into the future. You have Taurian energy, which is trustworthy, and you also have Piscean energy down here, which says intuitive. Both are flipped over. Neither really matters that it's flipped over or not. It's just showing us the traits of what they are. They are complementary. It's earth and water. Again, we have that intuitive energy that is here reflected in this moon. And then we have this trustworthy energy, which to me, Taurus is all about sort of maybe moving slowly, but moving in such a methodical way that, you're being fair to everybody and getting things done. Trying to move forward in a sort of measured and like, I almost want to say with this warrior charm underneath that's face up, it's like we don't want to blow our top or lose our cool. That might be part of the impetus for you maybe holding back right now, is that you're afraid if you say too much or you take too much action or act too much on how you think you see things, you might offend people or upset them. Um, I don't think that you will, though. That's the thing. I think that that might just be a fear of yours. So let me see here. What is this? This is the hope charm. This is turned over, though, face down in the future, but this doesn't speak to me that it's not hopeful. What I think is that we haven't really quite gotten to that ability to sort of flip. Like if we start to trust ourselves and trust our inner knowing, right? Like this button of this hieroglyphs, right? And we allow this tree of life to kind of grow, and we be true to what we know to be true. We speak our truth regardless of who it offends or how it offends. If we've got people that are being pains in our asses or bothering us, messing with our situation, telling them to fuck right off. Excuse my language. I know that might not be great language for you, Ramona, but I kind of feel like that's sort of the energy of some of these charms, is this idea that like you need to get in there and like lay down the law and be like, no more. Like, no, I know this intuitively. I'm strong enough to ask for this. I'm trustworthy enough to pursue it and push for it. That brings about this like this rooster, the good luck and the blessings of the rooster. He starts running off into the future, right? He also makes me think of how they have the cockfighting, right? So to me, this is also like being willing to sort of fight for what you know to be true to bring about those good blessings. That also in turn turns over this idea of hope, or this hope for the future. You have the other dog, Milagro, right? But this is the more obedient dog, right? This is the dog that's sort of laying down and it's upside down, but I think this is about not being obedient. This is about like sort of, is this that same porno coin again, or is this a different one? I have a bunch of porno coins. Oh no, this is a different one. This is one of the sign ones. Hold on. Let me see what this one is. This is, what sign is this? This is Aquarius. This is the sign of Aquarius, and it's got like the position that it came out in is the sex side up, right? I don't know how well you guys can see that, but there's a woman on top of a man there. To me, I like this because this speaks to like putting yourself first. It's not necessarily about the sexual image on the card or on the coin. It's about the idea of she sort of takes what she needs in this scenario, right? Aquarian energy can be very open-minded and sort of thinking about the greater collective, right? But we also are able to think about ourselves too, or at least that's the information that I get from this coin right now. Her being in that position sexually with the man underneath her, it says to me that it's okay to sort of put yourself first, Ramona. It's okay to sort of speak your truth, have what you want, go after what you want, don't worry about rocking the boat, pursue what you need and get your needs met, right? I think that there's a power in that and there's a strength in that. And you certainly are strong enough with this Taurus symbol and smart enough, intuitive enough to go about getting that for yourself. I just feel like you might need to feel comfortable with doing that. Like there might be people in your life that tell you, oh, no, don't act that way, because it's easier for them if you stay sort of in this docile space, right? Because then you're less of a challenge to them or whatever they want or they need. Down here in this deep subconscious, the last charm is this family crest. It is face down. So to me, I wonder if some of this surrounds with family and frustrations with family. Only because this is down in the subconscious and face down, which says to me you might have to set things aside or put them away, like not deal with them, not avoid them or not say your truth, but be like, look, if you don't understand me, then forget it. I'm just going to do me, is kind of the feeling that I get with this family crest down here face down. You're an Aquarius? She says, I know exactly what that means. You're very accurate. That's absolutely fine. I'm Aquarius. I'm Aquarian, strength, intuitive. I agree. And I feel like you have all of that going on. And everything that's in here, right? Even this owl and this moon and stuff speaks to the idea of your knowledge is good. You're solid. Your loyalty is good. Even the baby is like this wonderful sort of like positivity, this shining like Sacred Heart to me, it speaks to the genuineness of who you are is very real. So much real sometimes in some ways that you might actually put it on hold or your own dreams on hold so that it's not to bother others with it, or you might be busy helping others with their stuff, and then when they turn around to try and when you turn around to try and do your stuff, they're not there to help you, right? And so I feel like that needs to come to an end. There's an opportunity to create this. I love that this tree of life is also in the center of all of this, which is about your own personal growth and strength, right? Your own personal grounding, right? Grounding in this understanding that I am, worth it. I am smart. I am intelligent. I am intuitive. I am strong. And living off of that awareness and really allowing that to grow within you. This Egyptian button, this hieroglyph button, speaks to this idea that there's, this inner wisdom within you that goes far beyond whatever a lot of the people around you have and whatever they expound and spout off about. Right? Oh, I'm so sorry, Ramona. Ramona says the baby with Cobra was my youngest daughter, was pregnant with a toxic relationship. She just lost the baby on Thursday. I'm terribly, terribly sorry. I really think that things will be okay, though. Your daughter's definitely going to need time to heal from that. And I also think that there is just this aspect to all of this about putting yourself first and being okay with that, is sort of what I feel in these charms. This maybe, remember, we've got to remember that this maybe was sitting in the center, which is kind of like this I'm not so sure aspect, and we just want to get rid of that right out of the gate. Boom, bye. We don't want that maybe energy in the midst of all of this. I think that there's much stronger charms going on here. It's but like the Sacred Heart, the knowledge of the owl, the intuition of the moon, the tree of life. These are strong, strong charms. Even the loyalty of the bulldog, the warrior charm that's underneath all of this. Even the microphone speaks to this idea of having the voice. Santa Muerte, this idea of like quieting things down, or that death, right? Maybe not speaking about that death, or putting an end to sort of your voice or whatever. Even the microphone is a strong charm in and of itself. And your oldest, the Pisces, is now arguing with you. Okay, so that would be this charm. I kept to myself not saying much because he wasn't good, and she knows that now. And then on top of it, she's lost the baby, so she's hurting like in all kinds of ways. I understand. I definitely understand. But I also want to say that in terms of your charms and everything, is the things that you do know to be true, you can trust how to say them. And I feel like this warrior charm underneath all of this speaks to this idea that every time you speak the truth or what you know to be true, I hope that it doesn't necessarily mean that it always ends up in a fight, right? Like you're saying that your oldest son is now arguing with you, or your oldest Pisces is arguing with you, but they shouldn't be arguing with you, is kind of my feeling when I look at these charms, because I feel like your intentions are good. That's the brightness of the Sacred Heart, the tree of life. All of these these feel like good. What's the word I'm looking for? Like good intentioned charms. Ah, okay. Says Ramona says my oldest was against her having the baby and nothing to do with her sister while she was pregnant, and so she was losing the baby. I was stuck in the middle. Well, hopefully now, I mean, it's such a tragedy that's happened with the baby, but maybe now you won't necessarily, hopefully, be stuck anymore. Hi, Mary, how are you? Yes, she says, yes, my girls are my everything. Of course they are. And it's interesting, too, that you have the family crest charm down here in the subconscious face down in the future. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I just think that there's a way to sort of redefine this relationship with the family so that it doesn't become sort of so, um, I don't know if convoluted is the right word, but I feel like there's certain aspects that you put on hold because you don't want to upset other people, where I think that actually you might need to sort of step in, speak up, smack a few people around if you have to. And I'm only kidding in that way, but you know what I mean, like lay down the law a little bit, Ramona, because I sort of feel like you know the law, and like your heart is pure, like you're only going to do the best for these children. You shouldn't feel trapped. You know what I mean? I mean, the loss of that baby is tragic for sure. And so that's definitely going to put pause on anybody and everything. But I definitely sense that there's a strength in these charms that you can use in a way that doesn't have to result in you losing anything, if that makes sense. Ramona was reading. I'm reading for Ramona. So I hope that makes sense, Ramona. I'm really sorry about the loss of the baby. Do you want to take a screenshot of this reading? And I will say this, I always say this, even when charms are flipped over, right? That energy of the charm is still on the board, meaning it's there and accessible to you. This hope in the future speaks to this idea that there is hope coming. Like, so don't, as hard as things may have been leading up to this point, I think things will get better and that they're going to get easier. Yeah, that's fine, Ramona. You can just message me at the business page. All right, I'm going to clear the board. All right, you guys, I think that's it. We've actually been on for a little over an hour. I am going to sign off. Yes, definitely believe that, Ramona. It is going to get better. Melinda asks, what is the preferred reading I like to give? It really depends. I love doing card readings, but I also do like charmings too. But I've been working with cards for a lot longer. So I've only been working with charms maybe about a year. But it really depends, like if I'm in the mood or whatever. Hey, Jen Nichols, how are you? It really depends. different things. It depends, A, on the subject matter, and then what type of thing I'm doing. And then, like, what I'm finding is like, when I practice mediumship readings are really fun, too. They certainly energize me and make me feel really excited. I just don't feel comfortable doing them online yet. Just because it's sort of weird. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure how to pull it off with the chat, and I prefer to do it like we do it in these different medium circles. We do it in Zoom rooms where we can actually see our sitter and talk back and forth very easily, which this way I can't because there's a lag. So I've got to figure out a way to do that. That works for me, that I feel comfortable with, that I can sort of test it out. I might have to do, like, I don't know, a Zoom room and invite people as an audience, and then from there start to practice that. We'll see. I'm going to figure it out. So, Mary asked, do I have time for another reading? I'm actually going to sign off, Mary. I was going to only be on for an hour, and it's already been almost an hour and a half. So I will be back on again Sunday. So, or I could do a charming for you via Zoom at a separate date during the week, Mary. If you want to contact me, I can always charm for you just privately on a Zoom call. Like, there's a way to do it that way too. I figured that out, so I can always charm for you guys separately. But I'm gonna go and make some dinner. Some dinner! D-I-N-N-A-H. Dinner. So, yeah. For a first reading, Melinda, I would say probably a card reading would be the best way to go, because that's probably my strongest, I think, or the one that I'm certainly most comfortable with, and that you might get the most out of. That's my feeling. You know, charmings are fun and they're great, and you can get all kinds of information out of them, but I don't know, I feel always there's like more room for interpretation with charming, I feel like, than there is with cards, if that makes sense. I guess. Alright, you guys, I'm going to sign off. Thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Hey, James Lang, I'm actually just getting ready to sign off. I'm sorry. But if you guys follow the business page or follow my YouTube channel, hit subscribe and hit the notification bell. You'll be notified when I go live again. I do free card pulls and things like that on different nights. So follow those pages and just hit notify so that you know when I go live. And like I said, I do charmings, but charmings are not usually free. I don't really give away many charmings for free, but they're $25 each on Sunday nights usually. And then I'll be doing other things throughout the week. So it all just depends on when it strikes my fancy to want to get on. Thank you, Ramona. Much love to you too. Alright, you guys, so thank you for tuning in. Please give the video a thumbs up or a like. Share the video out if you feel so inclined. I greatly appreciate that. And I will talk to you guys soon. Alright? Take care. Have a good night. Bye-bye.